Do you? Oh, okay. This
Yeah,
meeting
I
is.
started
You
the
got.
record.
Good. 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 Very smart there.
The
Okay.
Late
Go.
Night Chat, Sunday, August 25th. Topic: Loving Others, Loving Baba. Dear folks of Baba, in my early years with Baba, I found it difficult in the moment to know how much I should focus on Baba within and how much I should focus on others. As long as I was tuning into Baba's presence, I felt comfortable. But when I was relating to others, was I really simultaneously focusing on Baba? That is, was I able to relate to Baba in others, or was I just relating to them as others independent of Baba? This deep questioning within myself led me to a decades long effort to find Baba in others or in another way of approaching this which worked best for me. To see others as Baba in disguise. I remember one day Eruch bringing out this quote by Baba in Mandali Hall. To love me is to love all. To love me in all is also to love me. To love all is not to love me. This was a challenge to my way of thinking. I realized that I was going to have to ponder the whole question of loving others. To harmonize my love for Baba with my love for others so that my love for others didn't take me away from Baba. The Mandali, I could see, seemed to have found a way of expressing this harmony of loving Baba and others naturally and effortlessly. This search was helped further for me by something Dan Ladinsky once shared with me. Eruch would greet us by name on the veranda of Merazad when we arrived in the bus. We all enjoyed his embrace. But at 5 in the morning in Baba's bedroom, when his birthday was being celebrated by shouting out Avatar Mea Baba 7 times, Eruch would afterwards embrace each of the Western volunteers and the Mandali gathered, one by one, saying, I love you, Baba. Was Eruch experiencing each one as Baba in disguise, his beloved as each one? I took this deeply to heart, and there were rare times over the years that followed when I would have this experience so that being with Baba within and being with others would merge. The two experiences would be harmonized. In another instructive moment, I remember when one of the Prem Ashram boys, Esfandia Vasali, one in whom Baba awakened divine love, was here at the center. I asked him if he was able to see Baba in others. His answer truly surprised me. I have not yet attained to that high state. He radiated Baba's love so powerfully, but he was yet to experience Baba in others. He shared that when he was a teenager at Mehrabad, he would wait for Baba to come to say goodnight to him and the other boys. And Baba would not come until he experienced in his heart that it was Baba loving. Have you dealt with this challenge of loving Baba and loving others? What methods and ways have you found to harmonize these two loves? Have you found that you can love those who are near and dear to you and love Baba at the same time without any effort? Do you encounter resistance in yourself in trying to love others with Baba's love? When asked what our relationship to others should be, Ramana Maharshi, according to Baba, a sixth plane saint, replied, there are no others. In his love, Jeff.
Well, I anybody kind of relate to this or venture forth with something. Um, I have something later on to read that somebody sent to me because they didn't know whether they'd be able to stay up this late. But do we have any takers yet? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Um, I I didn't feel this or respond this way when I first read it, but tonight when Sabine was reading it, I was hearing the idea of seeing Baba and others. And I thought, oh my God, what happens when I don't like that person? Or I'm repelled by that person? Does that mean I'm repelled and I don't like Baba? I'm
Good. Good
talking off the
question.
ledge on this one.
Yeah. Well, anyone want to respond? Yeah. Of course, you could say
On.
you don't like their sanskars, but you can still love them even if you don't like their sanskars. But well, I'm just throwing that out.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Anybody?
Behavior is not the
Not-
person. The behavior is temporary and specific to a certain situation. And our minds tend to want to grab onto that and get carried away and maybe even into hating them and making it personal. And all. It's just a big problem that can crop up. But I'll wait to tell you what my ideas are. But that's part of it, is seeing it in that way, where somebody behaves a certain way at a certain time, and it bothers us. And but we can set it aside because that's what Baba would want, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if you think of the personality self as the clothes they're wearing, you can not like the style of clothes they wear, but you can still like the person.
Yeah.
But it's but we'll keep that on the table because what you're hitting the one of the major challenges in loving others, is our reaction to them, and trying to get to a higher frequency. But yeah, good.
Jeff, it reminds me of something that you mentioned the other day as well. Remember when Agnes Barron was driving Baba and she related to him that she just doesn't love this person. And Baba says, it's not that you don't love that person, you don't like the person. There's always
Right.
love, but sometimes you don't like the person. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's hard to hold both of those frequencies at the same time. A
Right.
kind of negative frequency and a higher loving frequency at the same time.
So
But
hope
it-
that helps, Diane.
Yeah. Anyone else feel like checking in? I do have something I can read, but if there's somebody else, though, for sure.
One thing about seeing Baba in others is that really is a sixth plane kind of an experience. When you see God in everything. And I think sixth plane consciousness is fairly rare. I don't know that we would necessarily even be it would be appropriate to think that we should be having that experience. But we have what we have. And I recall Henry Kashauti made a big thing about, and also Adi Kayarani made a big thing about being having conviction in Baba, being in everyone and everything. And we may not have sixth plane experience, but Adi used to say, our conviction in Baba is we're a saint in disguise or something like that. I can't.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody else remembers.
He used to say, conviction in darkness, conviction of Baba's avatarhood in this world, in darkness, is God realization in disguise.
There it is, God realization in disguise.
The seed has been planted, it just has to germinate. Yeah.
And the other thing about being on to this all the time, is I don't think that's necessary. I don't think we should put that kind of pressure on ourselves. I think, at least for myself, consistently remembering that, whatever may make you remember it, that is feeding that, and it will grow of its own just by remembering it and feeling it in a moment. We don't always have to be thinking it.
Yeah.
It's
In other words,
it becomes at the back of our minds, that it's always there to come to the situation.
yeah, you're saying in a way there can be a knowing even though it's not always felt, but there is the kind of intuitive knowing.
Right.
But anyway, let's see.
And didn't Baba also say to like be natural as well? So whatever we're feeling, just be in that moment.
Yeah. To be natural is most godly, Baba said, you know. Okay.
Janet,
Up.
Janet,
Yeah, I'm. This is kind of a lighthearted thing on the side, but it has to do with our topic. So, my sister used to be a high school counselor, and her son was in middle school, and he hated bullies. He hated bullies, and there was this kid in middle school with him that was just his nemesis because he was just this terrible bully. It wasn't even that he bullied him, he just bullied everybody. And so one day my sister picked him up from school and you know, she said, "What's going on?" And he said, "I hate the name of the kid." And my sister was like, "No, Jeff, that's my nephew. You don't hate him. You hate his action." And my nephew said, "No, Mom, I hate him." Anyway, and he's a grown man now with his own children and a very kind person, but that was always the joke in our family because, yeah, no, Mom, I don't hate his actions. I hate him.
There's a line from Gandhi, which is wonderful, where he says, "Condemn the action, but not the man."
Yes,
Kind of,
that
yeah.
that was the point of what my sister was trying to
Yeah.
across.
The truths out of the mouths of babes.
Yes, exactly.
Any other takers?
Rich,
this is over my head, this whole topic. I think Jeff's in that league, and maybe some of you are, but I don't think I'm in that league. But I have to confess, the reason I gone is I confess that I have, on occasion, in the last few weeks, gone beyond myself and asked Baba to bless Donald Trump. That's all I could do. Somebody.
Good. All the blessings he can get, I would say. He's got a long journey. Well, maybe I'll read this letter. This is a letter from Elisa Genovese. She had been married to Robert Dreyfus, and I'll just read the one portion. She's talking about this topic. This topic just made me think because it's a very interesting question. I may try to get on the late night chat if I can stay up. I never thought of it quite in the way you're writing, but I have experienced Baba being a jealous God in that whenever I am loving somebody from a place of desire or attachment, that relationship is often fraught with pain or lost completely. I have experienced Baba literally taking relationships away from me when my focus is more on my gain than on him. On the other hand, when I can love fully, but have no real attachment or desire other than to the love itself, that is when I can feel Baba's presence the strongest. It's not that I'm focusing on Baba and efforting to love him in them, but that the harmony that exists and the ease of the relationship do not distract me from Baba in my heart. I often feel this love pleases him. I think that's just beautifully written. There she kind of threads the needle. I don't know, did you folks?
Could you read it again?
Yeah. She's talking about this topic, just made me think, because it's a very interesting question. I may try to get in on the late night chat if I can stay up. I never thought of this topic quite in the way you're writing, but I have experienced Baba being a jealous God in that whenever I am loving somebody from a place of desire or attachment, that relationship is often fraught with pain or lost completely. I have experienced Baba literally taking relationships away from me when my focus is more on my gain than on him. On the other hand, when I can love fully but have no real attachment or desire other than the love itself, that is when I can feel Baba's presence the strongest. It's not that I'm focusing on Baba and efforting to love him in them, but that the harmony that exists and the ease of the relationship do not distract me from Baba in my heart. I often feel this love pleases him. So that is really profoundly written, I would say. And then it bypasses some of the mechanics of following, loving Baba in someone else. That ease of the relationship, that harmony, that feeling of Baba's presence kind of resolves and harmonizes the whole situation of ourself and others. Okay.
Diane?
To piggyback on that, Jeff, it's like the conversation you and I had about 2 weeks ago, where we talked about when our thoughts are about other than Baba, and that means there's something between me and Baba, something's in the way, because I could totally understand what Elisa is saying here. And I think about relationships that I had attachments to, that I didn't understand, that became bigger than I could manage, and it felt very uncomfortable. It now really makes sense why they weren't working, because there was the disconnect between me and Baba.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a sign from, you get a sense that something is there's some static on the line, so to speak. Yeah.
Martha?
So that's then saying that if I'm in a relationship that is dramatic, painful, not easy, maybe that's just what I need to think of Baba. Maybe Baba's in the middle of it more than a harmonious one, because I'm so desperate that I'm just like thinking of Baba all the time. So, I mean, it almost seems like she's saying, or you're saying, that if a relationship's harmonious, then it's easy to have Baba there. But if a relationship is conflicting and upsetting and chaotic and dramatic, that Baba's not there. And I don't think there's not any place that Baba isn't, but I don't think that that's true. I think that that particular mess for that person maybe is perfect to get through or learn to get closer to Baba. So maybe next time they won't pick that kind of a person or that situation.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. I'm reminded of Hafiz. Hafiz, fell in love with Shaki Nabat, who was completely out of his league. He was like I guess the son of a milkman, and she was like a princess or something. And he spent. He eventually wound up with a perfect master, trying trying to win her hand. And the master said, "Well, it'll take 10 years, but you'll win her hand." After 10 years, his master said, "I'm sorry, but it's going to take another 10 years." It comes the end of 20 years, and his master says, "I'm sorry, it's going to take another 10 years." It went on for 40 years. Now here he is. He's got a perfect master. I don't know if he's thinking of the perfect master the whole time. He's thinking of not Shaki Nabat all this time and everything. And Baba said that in that longing, he went through all the entire spiritual path just in trying to win her hand. So there you have what you're talking about is it could be like, torture and everything, but it brought out the depth of his soul year after year after, and longing and everything. So it's very hard to get a formula for this or a cut answer, because it's just a lot of variation in. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes whatever gets you on your knees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay.
What if we were to ask Baba for his help in loving or appreciating another person who we may in fact be focused on their behaviors or their some type of attribute that they have that turns us off or bothers us, or we think it needs to get fixed or whatever. But what if all we need to do is ask Baba to help us see something that can balance that, some quality in them that we're missing, that they have, that is a positive quality. I'm sure we all have both positive and negative, what we would call negative qualities. So if we ask Baba to help us to see it, then right away it kind of undermines this whole I hate the behavior and but I love the person. It would be much easier if Baba would just show us the way to see their good points, and then it wouldn't matter if we felt badly about the thing that they said to us that we didn't like or whatever, that made us insulted us or something like that. Maybe that would be more acceptable if we knew that they had these other qualities.
Yeah, no. And I think everybody here has turned to Baba to try to help them in that effort. When all your other avenues are not working, you turn to Baba. Yeah, okay. Marion, he's calling on you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to share a quick little thing because I'm at a very elder age and I've been through about every phase you can go through with Baba. So I don't want to talk about all of them. But right now, um, I've noticed, and from some other wonderful teachers I've had, that it's like a little mantra with me. The first stage of transformation is observation. So it's not me trying to be better or be good or change. And that has saved me because I'm the original good girl that tries to do everything right and get a good grade on everything. And so for me to observe first and name what I see is going on, whether I'm judging somebody or I'm doing something that is a little bit cheating, or whatever it is I'm doing, is that to report it to Baba so that everything I do brings me to Baba. Even if I'm acting crummy, it brings me to Baba because I'm telling Baba about it. And so I really like that so much. It makes me feel so embraced, like a child, like so accepted. And so then this teacher many years ago had said, yes, and who is the observer? Spirit, of course. So I thought, oh, once I'm one step away from experiencing all of my foibles and everything, I am already stepping into being through the eyes of spirit, observing what I'm doing. So I feel the grace, Baba's grace, in that I can't ever be really bad and awful and horrible, because I'm going to report it to Baba, how bad I'm being. and everything's bringing me to God. So I can't, I can't lose out in any way. So I do some psychodrama. Is I separate out what I call Marion, little Marion, and often she is mean, nasty Marion because she feels she's not being seen, and so she gets kind of nasty. And then there is my higher self, which is totally perfect. So we sometimes have a dialogue, and it brings up with my mean, nasty Marion, who's so belligerent, is that that in my higher self, I turn to her and I'm empathic. There's no critic anymore. There's just no critic. And I take her hand and I say, I'll listen, and I listen to her without giving her power. So I like my little psychodrama thing. It helps me separate out those two aspects. So I'll end with that.
Yeah. There's Thomas à Kempis, he was a Christian mystic, said, if you knew all, you would forgive all. So the more we know human nature, Dr. Gar was asked what she learned, what she learned at Marizan. She said, human nature.
Mm-hmm.
When you understand human nature, it's easier to be empathetic and forgive.
Yes, that's true.
If we knew all, we'd...
Yeah.
Vijayji.
Hi, Jai Baba Jeff and Jai
Yeah.
Baba everyone.
Hey, Baba.
Here we come
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Pune.
Yeah, I'm from Pune. Yeah. So, we talked about Hafiz, love. Of course, that was a very highest quality of human love, unconditional love, and that can lead to the divine love. Even the Laila Majnu's love was human love, but it was a kind of pure love. And so it is interesting that even the human love can be transformed. It attracts that divinity. And when there is a sacrifice and there is means no demand. So even the human love means I want to say that it attracts, it can transform. And when the Hafiz saw the angel, when he sees that beauty of angel, and
Angel
then
Gabriel.
then he thinks that, oh, when the angel is so beautiful, how beautiful is God. So he forgets the thought of girl, the beauty of girl. He could realize that, oh, it's such a human thing, flesh. And then immediately he say, I want God. And of course, it took him 40 years to become a perfect master. So I think that human love, even means anybody, and I'm sure Baba has attracted all of us because of the quality of our soul, and we are with him, and one day definitely we will be able to love him as he wanted from us.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, Jai Baba.
And, and Shakti Nabat, by the time after 40 years, she was probably around
Old.
60. And 60 in those times were probably like 90, a hard time.
That's the joke, you wait long enough and then you're too old to really get into it anymore. So
Okay.
Rich.
Well, I wanted to comment, as you were talking, Marion, I got this thought, and I know it's always been important to me, but in New York, when I was with the group, the short time I was there, we would hug each other at meetings. After the meeting, we would do a Baba hug. I call it a Baba hug, and then it carried on for me later in the Denver group, which Bob Yeager knows. But it was always important at meetings after they were over or before you meet someone, greet someone, you did a Baba hug. My experience in most of those was I was very aware that in the middle of that hug or embrace or greeting, that we were really trying to acknowledge Baba in each other. And it wasn't about an emotional, or even a physical hug. Of course, it takes place in the gross world, but it was always really meaningful in my experience. And I know on the center, there's been a pattern of that too. But it's just a very palpable experience of coming together with a Baba lover where the only purpose is to acknowledge Baba within each other.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but I've thought that at the time of Jesus, the exchange was the shaking hands. In the time of Muhammad, it was kissing, on each other's cheek. And here in this Advent, it's definitely the embrace, the hug, the way to express love. It's gotten more intimate, you might say. Any other customers?
Regarding the Baba hugs, I remember, I think the first time I heard somebody on television, might have been Rick Chapman or Alan Cohen. It was somebody was being interviewed on PBS and talking about Baba. And I think this was after I came to Baba. It could have been actually right before I came to Baba. But there were people, and they showed footage of him hugging people. And it was kind of unusual in 1970 that it hadn't caught on at that point, like it did almost immediately after Baba dropped the body. I think. I mean, everybody was hugging everybody, and it was an acceptable thing. I mean, the football players on the field are hugging each other and stuff. Things you would never have even imagined seeing back in the earlier times. But I think Baba wants his avataric energy to pass through the hug method. I mean, I think somebody recently suggested, which I've thought of it myself, is that people hug Baba, and then when they hug somebody else, his hug passes through to that person, and on and on and on from there. It never. I don't think it ever wears out, or it might just get stronger actually. And you hug one of the Mandali, maybe the Mandali got hugged by Baba. I don't know that he hugged the Mandali all the time, but he hugged them at least once probably. And just to pass on that energy through physical contact. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Rich, about the hugging.
Yeah, Daniel Ladinsky said that Eruch said to him that we were embraced by him and we have embraced you. And through that, and you go on embracing others, and through that way, his love will go out to the world, embrace by embrace, heart from heart to heart. Okay.
Marta, yes? I didn't hear that.
Go for it, Marta.
Anyway, I just wanted to point out that I got something at YouTube, a beautiful poem and with photographs, but the gist of it was the embrace. And when you hug somebody, your heart is on the side of them that doesn't have the heart, and their heart's on the side of you that does have a heart. So there's this beautiful circle of two hearts connected as one. Isn't that great?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I thought that was so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's true.
Marian?
You say, Marion?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll make this very quick because thank you, Ron and Marta, because about hugs, I forgot that way back in the early 70s, 72, whatever, when I first, I'd come to Baba already. I'd gone to India in 69, and I remember just weeping when Mani hugged me after bowing at Baba's chair and things like that. It was just like, and people holding me, hugging me, weeping. And so when I came back, it was the beginning of that movement of group. You know, I was got into one of those group where you express your feelings and everything. It was like it's very new, and I remember, and I started studying the bioenergetic, therapy, and we had groups to learn how to hug. I forgot about that. So two people would get in the middle of the group and hug each other, and the men were usually afraid of putting their pelvises together and putting their whole front next to each other. And I had forgotten about that until you all brought that up. And it makes me smile with gratitude of how far we have gone. I mean, some people maybe misuse a hug, but the fact that I got, in groups to learn how to hug and let go and relax into each other in a healthy way. I forgot about that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Go for it, Tony.
Yeah, I have no idea where to begin with this subject because there are so many facets. And so I'm not sure I have anything to say about it except hugs came up. And I remembered a poem that I wrote that's on some website, Baba website, called Hugs. 7 degrees of separation make hugs a beautiful... It's not one of my best poems. It's just on subject. 7 degrees of separation make hugs a beautiful thing. I hug you and you hug her, and down the line it goes, till everyone's hugged everyone. A message in a bottle couldn't communicate more quickly. My love for you is for your love, and for her love, and for his love. So take this message to the one I love. Take me with you there. And just as the rivers flow to the sea, the ocean's hugs flow back to me, sometimes in a single generation by a Merazad embrace. So tell me then, is it my love I send, or the love of the ocean flowing through me? Water is water in the end, my friend, and hugs are liquid reality. So please, take this hug back home for me by accepting it. No need for thought, for water always seeks its own level within the human heart.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Wow. Yeah, so maybe I'll say a few things. Early on, when I got into Baba, he says he puts great emphasis on loving others. In fact, he has said the path is through people. And you all probably know the line, you will love me most by loving those whom you cannot love. There's that great line. And, it's a tall order. And I realized in that Bob is asking us, to love others. And I felt that I first have to have a profound interest in others, because I thought, I felt that interest in others just one of the lower rungs on the ladder to loving others. At least you got to be interested in them. And fortunately, my childhood, I was very curious about people and what made them tick. So, so when I started working here at the center, I mean, the whole spectrum of humanity was showing up here. And so I definitely had to learn how to interact with a wide range of people. And from my experience with the Mandali, and I think we all experienced that, they loved personally. There's friendliness, that you get at Disney World. Everybody's friendly, but loving, they really loved us personally. And that's a world of difference. And they were somehow able to do it, and in the process conveying Baba's love. And so, there's this line of Baba's where he says, to have loved one's soul is like adding its life to your own, and you live, as it were, in two centers. And if you love the whole world, you vicariously live in the whole world. That's something that Baba wrote in the discourses. So it's incredible that he's encouraging us to love one another. But then what is the extent to which you can love others without it becoming a conflict in with your love for Baba? And we talked about Majnun and Layla, and Hafez. Boy, they they would have had a conflict in their life, repeatedly, but it didn't. It propelled them on to this higher love. But I found that in loving others, to strive to love others with no strings attached, no possessiveness. When I'm able to do that, I get to experience Baba's presence, And here's one thing that happened to me. When Esfandiar Vasali came here years ago, he was such a loving person that there was a period of time when he was here, and only when he was here, I actually saw others as Baba in disguise. I would look at somebody, and that is Baba, acting, looking like Tony Paternetti, or looking like Paula Roper. I mean, it was possible, and when I was able to see through that lens, then there was no Baba here and there. I mean, it was all one and the same. But unfortunately, I was not able to sustain that, but I do get flashes of it. So anyway, it's kind of a work in progress to try to harmonize loving Baba and loving others. And it, yeah. So I don't know if that'll elicit any sharing.
Tony?
Yeah, after saying I couldn't say anything about it because it's such a big thing, and I felt I had to say something, and I started taking notes. So, but they're all over the place. We're talking about hugs and Mandali hugs and Baba hugs. The first hug from Mani, I felt like it was Baba, the woman who looked after me when I was like 3 years old, and my first girlfriend, like all rolled up into one. Eruch, there was one, and I don't know what to make of these, but one hug from Eruch where he licked my neck by my ear. It was a sensual hug, but it was love. It was not a sensual thing. It was, I don't know how to explain it. Mani, Eruch. I had a dream this morning. That I'm kind of like at Mehrabad, but it's a mountain. It's a lush mountain. It's not really Mehrabad. And I'd been there for a week, and I'm with some friends, and we're going home. But I want to go back and see all the people who've just arrived. And I see scores of people coming up the hill of this lush mountain, none of whom I know, but I see Eruch Nadel. And sometimes he could be distant, aloof, especially in later years. And I didn't know if he'd recognize me, but he did. And we went over and we hugged. And I hugged him and he hugged me. And it was the most Baba hug. I don't know how to put it in words. Completely different hug. And of course, I woke up, because now I'm like 72. So I think, okay, does this mean I'm dying? or maybe he's taking birth again. On the other hand, I have a dog named Erico, and he's been near death several times. So maybe Eric, but Erico's still here. The other thing I wrote down is in relationships, the Jung's idea of the anima for a man or the animus for a woman. That first girlfriend, I saw nothing but all love, absolute love, Baba, everything in this woman. But it was what Jung would call the projection of the animus, of all that love, all of that divine love, really, in me that I was seeing in her. And so she had to disappear from the picture, or I would have never been able to find it in myself. Baba, the other thing is Baba's in everyone. So any relationship of any kind, we're learning how to love at higher and higher levels through the challenges and through the attachments and all that. Baba has generally, with me, has used women to awaken love in me. My first experience when Baba dropped his body was this beautiful woman who I was clearly in love with. I was only 16, who I saw in this experience, and I went to find her. And in searching for her, I found Baba. Then 10 years later, she actually showed up, and the story played out. But that's different thing. A situation where I put my love life in Baba's hands, and he first gave me a relationship with someone that was going to bring me in touch with every repressed place in my heart, and when I was scared, and I wanted to get out of the relationship, and he would tell me, love her more, and it was, but Baba, but love her more, and I did, and that led to the opening, that then led me to Zeke 4 years later. On the other hand, that's a relationship Baba has crafted and shaped, and that means there's a whole lot to learn about love that you would not necessarily thought you were signing up for, So that's why I didn't feel like I'd say anything, because you could go on with this subject forever. But those are a couple of high points, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you. Go for it, Ronnie.
Okay. Well, I offered this up at a Zoom few days ago, and I was kind of surprised that I don't think anybody had read this before. I found it in the book Practical Spirituality by John Grant. And so unless I was dreaming it, it's in there. If you have that book, you could find this. But John apparently had heard Eruch talk about this, something that he got from Baba. And what it was that Baba had been asked, how should we love you? And, Baba would often say, that's your outlook. I'll give you my love, but when you want to give me yours, you have to figure it out for yourself. And so it would be a creative thing. But then Baba brought up in this same conversation, he brought up the idea that love for another person is the exact opposite. The way it unfolds is the exact opposite of how one comes to love God. So, we're coming to love God, and maybe we've been in love, fell in love with somebody else. But so Baba described the loving another person starts out. Sometimes one can just see another person, just by the sight of another person. You could have love at first sight. So just you see them, and then you fall in love with them. This can happen. I think I may have had that experience before, but whether I have or I haven't, I know that's a thing. So this is what Baba says: is you see them, then you fall in love with them, and then you start thinking about them all the time. You only want to be with them. You want to hear everything about them, know everything about them, just absolutely, completely filled with thoughts about them and the desire to be with them. Now, what happens after that is it happens less. You think of them a little bit less. and then a little bit less than that, maybe. And maybe it kind of cools off a little bit. And it may even come to the point where you don't want to think about them at all and you forget them. Could be like that. But he says it's different with God. With God, you think of God. You have a thought about God. It comes into your mind. Wonder what that person who believes in God, what are they thinking about? What's that all about? Never even thought about God before, but I think I'll look into it. So you read something and it becomes interesting to you, and you start getting interested in the subject, and it gets more and more powerful, and enthusiasm comes into it, and you're all of a sudden you're thinking about God all the time. You want to know who is God, where is he, everything. You want to know everything about God, and so you don't want to be away from the thoughts about God. So what eventually that leads to is you fall in love with God. And then after that happens, shortly after that, you see God. So it's the exact opposite unfolding of love for person versus God.
You see God in the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, beautiful. Well, how about reading the parts that Baba's own words in that description there?
You asked me to do that?
Yeah.
I don't have that at hand.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure I have the book, but I was looking for it the other day. I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in there. But I think it was Eruch's take on it. It wasn't really a formal discourse. It was just something that Eruch thought of, maybe, in Mandali Hall, and John Grant was there or something. I'm not really sure though. But I think I find it fascinating.
Anyone? You know what I was going to be? I'm going to read this one thing. I don't know if I've read this before, and part of it is exactly Baba's words, and some of it is someone recounting what Baba said, so it may not be entirely accurate. But the spirit of what and the meaning of what Baba said is included in these words. And here Baba said, this was when Baba was in England in probably 1956, and it appears in a book by Tom and Dorothy Hopkinson. So this is attributed to Baba. The values of the feminine hold love, tenderness, and service to others. These values cannot be something demanded of women by men for his enjoyment or advantage, but as qualities he must value in her and develop within himself. Women have to be liberated, not in order to become man's imitation or enslaver, but to become something new, something more than she has ever been until now. And in doing so, to inspire men to become more than he has ever thought of being, more than he has ever been willing to become. Her role is to awaken. So that's another way of being able to see how someone else experiences themselves in themselves rather than seeing them through the lens of ourself, which, that, hey, but I was thinking of asking Emmy, not somebody. Now, Emmy, you don't have to share anything, but I would be interested what you might have to say on this subject, but don't feel at all you have to.
Jeff, hey, it's Anthony. She is out cold sleeping. Sorry to break the news.
Okay.
Hi.
Oh, she's up now.
No, we won't spring this on her. Much love.
I don't have clarity to say something profound.
Yeah, no, that's good. I thought, you know, I'm sure you have something, but we'll catch you another time. You go back,
Thank you so much.
rejoin the divine.
Oh.
Anything else? Anybody that? Let me see. Let's see. How about Goer? What's your take on some of this? Sorry, I didn't do it. It's usually Marta.
Usually Marta that does. No, but I mean, I think if you just love whoever in a detached way, then you're focusing more on Baba and less on that particular relationship. So it's what has been said by yourself, as well as with what Alyssa wrote in her words to you, that if you feel for someone in a detached way, that you can love that person, of course, but knowing all the time that there's no attachment, there's no entanglement there as such, then you're liberated in that love, and you can then love that person as much as you want, but the focus is more on loving that person in a detached way, so that your love is more towards Baba than that person. I don't know if I'm being clear,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, with no possessiveness or
yeah,
strings attached. It's a
exactly.
free giving of love.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's how I tend to focus my relationships, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And it was not always like that, mind you. In the earlier days, you tend to get all tangled up, and this leads to complications and so on and so forth. But you learn as you grow and as you become more aware. So to be aware, I think that is one of Baba's greatest gifts to us. The awareness that he gives us in so many different ways. And that brings him more closer to you when you have that awareness. Whether it's detachment, whether it's conviction, whether it's in so many different gifts he's given us. So just to have that awareness is huge. So we're so blessed, so blessed.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Janet.
Yes. I listened to the talk you sent us, Jeff, of what you did in California. And you said something in that perhaps you'd say more about in depth that strikes me as applicable to what we're talking about. And that is the difference between how we are with others when we love them, which was acceptance, versus wanting to make people good when we think they're bad or something like that. That sense of acceptance. Could you say more about that? And am I thinking along the right track to think that might apply to what we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, one thing occurs to me. I mean, I've always wanted to see people for what they are, not to project, stuff onto them that's not there. Even project a goodness onto them that's not there, but to see them for what they are, and accept them, and somehow that elicits my love and empathy for them. If I see them, the more I know, I understand them and kind of understand, I can perceive the way they are, that somehow elicits my love. And the understanding helps me to understand why they are that way, and I don't hold it against them. Now that's one way of answering your question. But now reframe your question again, because...
Well, what I heard you say in that talk, and I mean, maybe I made it up, but it made total sense to me. It was like beyond seeing others as good or bad, how love sees everything is as acceptance. So it seemed to me, for the way I interpreted it, was that it was beyond understanding. You know, understanding people's backgrounds or whatever, and that's what causes them to be a certain way or whatever. But this, to me, what I heard you say was something slightly different. It was about that love, and I think it's what people say people I have heard speak that saw Baba and that were with Baba, and maybe Goher and VJ can speak to this, but I know they were little, but that when Baba didn't see people as good or bad, he saw them through love, which was just acceptance. It's beyond the good or bad definition.
Yeah.
It is, am I hitting a chord at
Yeah.
all in anything you said,
Yeah.
Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a loving essence to essence.
Yes.
You get the person behind it. I know, like I say, when I first met the Mandali, they responded to me as I had always known myself, and they were just meeting me for the first time. They didn't need to know my background, my history, and everything. They tuned in to the essence behind the personality, and yeah, I remember saying to Darwin, there were all these people. There were a lot of conflicts when Baba was here, between people and everything. And I said, Darwin, Baba's seeing all this, and there were some, people were upset with each other and different groups and all that. How Baba's seeing that? How did he respond? And Darwin said, he seemed to be oblivious. He wasn't seeing people in terms of their personalities per se, but more seeing their soul, seeing their essence, and that you can love. But I don't know if that. I don't think I've quite. I wish I could kind of remember what the part of the
whatever it was, it really impacted me in a very positive way, Jeff.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I felt it because why I'm bringing it up in this topic of being within and loving God and loving Baba versus looking out at those around us, and do we get, how do we navigate those waters between the Baba that we sense and love within, and then going out into the world and being with others, some of whom we don't find agreeable to us exactly. and what this said to me was that I can choose to see them not like people that are in our lives, maybe family members or whatever. I might want to rearrange their personalities a little bit. I might want to make them better in the way I want to see them better or something, right? Whereas this was like opening the door for another whole way of being with others, which is just acceptance and not, and maybe it has to do with attachment too, but am I ringing any bells?
Now I remember.
Okay.
What I was talking about is the thing about love. Baba says love displaces nothing. It can go into somebody and it doesn't have to change them at all. Doesn't have to rearrange their furniture and put up curtains and buy new rugs and all that. It can be there, accept them as they are. Now, when good goes into somebody, it wants to fix up their place and renovate it, repaint the walls. Bad wants to go in there and throw a party and kind of wreck the place. But love has the ability. I used to feel with Eruch, he could see me. It was like he could see me easily. It was like inside of me, but he didn't try to force me to do anything. I could ask him a question about something I was going through from inside, and he was responding perfectly, but he wouldn't force anything on me or tell me how I should be. You know, he'd wait until I came forward with a question. And but so he wasn't like trying to reform me and make me a better person or less obnoxious or whatever. He accepted. So that. But anyway, we got Marta up there. See what she says here. Oh, you're silent. You're
Martha.
I'm silent, really? Hardly
Yeah.
ever. I was wondering if Sabine and her husband, who I can't remember his name, would have anything to say about what we're talking about. Because you guys have been together a long time, haven't you? Sabine.
Yeah, it's Johannes.
Yeah.
Oh, Johannes. Oh, Johannes.
Johannes.
Okay.
Johannes, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Johannes and your Highness. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I read this text from Jeff, I thought this is completely over my head. You know, I'm still struggling with remembering Baba. How am I to sort of see Baba in others? You know,
well, how about in your relationship with your husband? Do you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just, you know, pondering your question. I don't think I really see Baba in Johannes, but I understand what Jeff was saying, that, you know, you, or, you know, some of you, you might not like the behavior, but that is not affecting the love.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, the love is always there, even when I'm pissed off with Johannes about something he has done. I don't think that will ever change, but, you know, I still get annoyed.
I love you, but I don't like your behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on a very deep level. You know. And, you know, I remember, you know, I was sort of pondering, you know, what could I contribute to the conversation? And then I remembered, you know, when Putin invaded Ukraine, everybody was hating him. And I thought, well, that can't be the solution. That can't be the way, you know. So I started sending love to Putin, like Rich is sending love to Trump, you know. And then this thought occurred to me that, why is he doing it? You know, if we all have the God spark, if we all Baba, you know, would Baba do that? And I thought, he is so removed. You know, his personality and his actions are so removed from what is Baba in him, that is, you know, maybe enabling him to react in the way he is reacting. So now when I struggle with people, I sort of see where they are in relation to their Baba. You know, how far are they removed from their sort of loving part? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Excellent. No, really.
Thank you. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And that helps you kind of accept the fact that they're far away from their Baba within, you know.
Yeah, I don't need, I think, you know, it sort of enables me to leave them where they are. I don't need to rearrange the inner furniture. It's just, I'm just seeing, okay, that is where they are in relation to their Baba.
Yeah.
And then I can leave them there. I still don't like it, you know, but.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well, let's
I
have
like
one
you,
last.
but I don't like your furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like. Yeah.
I love you. Yeah.
Well, we'll have one last sharing here, and then we'll call it a night.
Wow.
And Ronnie, you got your hand up, whether you know it or not.
Yeah. You know, one thing that's great about spirituality with Baba is we don't really have to love all these other people, even some of the other people. I mean, it may happen naturally that we would love other people, but all we have to do is love Baba. And because Baba is in everyone. So everyone that we connect with in some way, either physically or in any way, all we have to do is please Baba when we think about the other person, when we speak to and with the other person, it should be pleasing to Baba. And when whatever we do in our actions toward other people, that should be please Baba too. If we please Baba because we love Baba, then these people that we're connecting with, they're receiving Baba's love, and can never do better than that. Mm. So I think Baba's given us a free pass to just, I mean, you even brought it up at the beginning about that like what Eruch said about you don't have to love all the, oh no, I think it was Baba saying,
yeah,
you don't have to love all the people, but if you just love Baba, it'll take care of everything because it consumes everything. It's about everything. All the thoughts, all the words, all the deeds are given with love for Baba, and to all the people and all these situations and circumstances that we have, we can bring that love to that, and if it please, and try to please Baba, and he'll let us know if we miss the mark, and we can do better next time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like you can kind of be more within with Baba, but it is, I think one of the reasons I brought up this topic is how far out can you expand your love and not get it watered down. But in other words, how far can we go out horizontally rather than, within?
Emmy's awake.
How many people can you carry on your ship? How many people can you carry in your heart? That's anyone else? Emmy, are you are you just kind of joining to show your face, or did anything occur to you?
I love this topic so much. One quote that came to me was about how human love is for the many and the one, and divine love is for the one and the many. And the human love leads to innumerable complications and tangles, and divine love leads to integration and freedom.
Yeah, those are
human
beautiful.
love. Yeah, these are from
the discourse.
Human love in its personal and impersonal aspects is limited, but divine love, with its fusion of personal and impersonal aspects, is infinite in being and expression. And I think these teachings just remind me, there was this rabbi that I deeply learned so many things from, and he taught me that everybody is God-godding as this person or that person. So you, Jeff, are God-godding as Jeff, and I'm God-godding as Emmy, and Anthony is God-godding as Anthony. And that when I feel, that just, if everything is for the purpose of the evolution and growth and learning of my soul, that even when I'm suffering in relationship with somebody, that person is the manifestation of God in that particular form. So this is definitely a belief that I've carried for many, many, many years. And I even sent, when I saw this beautiful topic, I sent it to Anthony. I was so excited about it. But then, I'm really grateful that you called me, because I don't know, I feel like I could probably talk for a long time on this topic, but
But those quotes that you just gave from Baba are really so apt and central to this whole thing. Yeah, in fact, why don't you read this, and then we'll have read this, and then we'll have a moment of silence. If you can, do you have that that writing in front of you there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then we'll call it a night.
Human love is for the many and the one, and divine love is for the one and the many. Human love leads to innumerable complications and tangles. Divine love leads to integration and freedom. Human love in its personal and impersonal aspects is limited, but divine love, with its fusion of the personal and impersonal aspects, is infinite in being and expression. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, May. Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Papa.
Yeah. Thank you for reflecting on this thing, this particular topic. Whoop. Trying to do something here. Anyone have any last moment things that come to mind? Well, I guess we kind of exhausted that topic. Oh, hey, but we got Nasreen.
Jeff, I think you recognize even when I'm laughing. You recognize me, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Thank you, Baba.
Jai Baba.
If you ever go to Los Angeles, Nasreen and Mahmoud, they have a most beautiful home overlooking the ocean.
I'm ready for everybody.
And they are so generous.
This is Baba's house. It's nobody else's house. So
How
they're
long
all
can we stay?
welcome to Baba's house. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It is really, if you go to the LA Center, you'll most likely have an afternoon with Nasreen and their whole family. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thanks so
It
much.
is the best. I will vouch for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Otherwise known as Orangamama.
Yes.
Well, we'll see what happens next week. You know what I was thinking for next week? I'm going to ponder it because Janet Jacobs wrote, "What is the soul?" I'm thinking. Not only what is the soul, but what are the signs down here that where you get a sense that you have witnessed something from the soul rather than, there's the heart, but the soul is even deeper. So I thought might be an interesting thing. There's a line from Rumi where he says, if the door of your soul were to open for an instant, you would see that the heart of every existent thing is your intimate friend.
It's beautiful.
It's a oneness.
Wow.
A oneness with everything. If the door, not the door of your heart, but if the door of your soul. And we've all, I feel we've all had moments where that oneness, and it can be just like a you might witness a father coming home and the kids running out of the house and running into his arms, where it just is, it's beyond just the usual kind of exchange. It turns something that touches a deeper strata of our being, you might say.
And soul music can make you feel closer to God.
Yeah. I mean, it's anyway. You folks, you have a good week, and
Thank you. You too.
Jai Baba. Much
Jai
love.
Baba, Jai
Hey,
Baba,
Baba.
Jai Baba, dear. Bye.
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 Bye.